Carosa.
And I'm Cherise Voltori.
And welcome to the 2021 Source Hall of Fame Awards virtual induction ceremony. We are your co-chairs for this 18th annual induction ceremony. Wow, what a global experience it has been over the last 2 years. Thank you for joining us by video today.
This is our very first time ever not standing in front of a live audience here at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum. However, this is not our first time of recognizing extraordinary women behind the music. We can't wait to celebrate with you their lifetime career achievements. Here to kick us off is our Source Nashville president, Carrie Barnhart.
I'm Carrie Barnhart, president of Source Nashville. You're going to want to grab your friends, pop some popcorn, and get ready for a great video celebrating the women behind the music. You're going to see videos from artists such as Reba, Jamie Johnson, Dierks Bentley, industry professionals like Jody Williams, Paul Corbin, Mark Ford, Buddy Cannon, Bob Orman, and many others, paying tribute to the women we are posthumously inducting into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame. Due to COVID-19, our usual family gathering, known as the Source Hall of Fame Awards, is brought to you via the celebration video link that you can share with your friends and family and watch over and over again. We are honored to induct 20 women behind the music who have paved the way with incredible careers, achievements that will be forever and permanently remembered in the Source Hall of Fame exhibit located at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum in the historic Municipal Auditorium. A special thanks to Joe and Linda Chambers for making the exhibit space possible. We also want to thank all of our previous sponsors for your years of loyal support. You are so appreciated. This year's celebration video is presented and solely sponsored by Gus Arundel, president of Springer Mountain Farms Fresh Chicken.
Hi, I'm Gus Arundel, president of Springer Mountain Farms Fresh Chicken and a huge country music fan and industry supporter. It's been my honor to be the presenting sponsor of the annual Source Hall of Fame Awards for several years now. I'm excited to congratulate all the 20 inductees in the 2021 Source Hall of Fame. I celebrate these wonderful women behind the music who might not have received the recognition they so deserve without the annual Source Hall of Fame Awards. Congratulations to each of their families and friends on their induction into the Source Hall of Fame. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in person at the 2022 Source Hall of Fame Awards on August 23rd.
Gus, the Source Hall of Fame Awards Committee thanks you for the continued and faithful support of the Source Hall of Fame Awards. Now, it is my great honor to introduce to you your 2021 Source Hall of Fame host. This will be her first time co-hosting the Source Hall of Fame Awards for recent Tennessee Hall of Fame radio inductee, Miss Shannon McCombs. However, Shannon is no stranger to our music industry community. She has interviewed thousands of celebrities from all genres of music and entertainment. In addition, she has produced others radio programs, and most of you will know her from the Shannon McCombs Country News on CDX. Shannon, we're so happy to have you here with us. What an honor it is for me to introduce our longtime Source Hall of Fame host, Jeannie Seely. Jeannie is a legendary Grand Ole Opry artist, a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, and just this year, she was presented with an honorary Doctorate of the Arts from Lincoln Memorial University for her incredible contribution to not only the world of music, but the arts and entertainment. Jeannie also has her own exhibit space right here at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum. Miss Jeannie Seely is back to host for us again, and we are so thrilled. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy the show with our hosts, Jeannie Seely and Shannon McCombs.
Where is everyone?
Well, it's just you and me tonight, Shannon. You know what? This is the year we do everything virtual. And the only one I know of that's happy about that is Charlie Monk. And that's because Charlie can be seen in all his glory without ever having to leave home or do anything. The best part, though, is Charlie can be seen and not heard.
He's on the radio somewhere. That's what we do know.
Absolutely. We're always going to hear from Charlie. But this is different this year, but we are here to honor some wonderful ladies who are no longer with us, but they will never be forgotten because of our Source Awards.
Absolutely. Now, before we forget, let's go ahead and tell you to save the date right now for the 19th Source Hall of Fame Awards, which are scheduled for August 23rd, 2022, right here at the Musicians Hall of Fame at the historic Municipal Auditorium. Now, Jeannie, all those cameras, look at this. Are you comfortable? A little, maybe. This is more your area than mine. I like it behind the scenes, you know?
Oh yeah, Shannon, you've done it both, and you do it so well. By the way, congratulations on that Tennessee Hall of Fame.
Hey, thank you, and congratulations on becoming a doctor.
That's right. We haven't worked together since we've been Hall of Fame and doctor people anyway.
Dr. Jeannie Seeley.
We are here tonight to recognize Hall of Fame inductees. These are women whose lives and careers have impacted artists, writers like Dierks Bentley, Jamie Johnson, Reba McEntire, to industry executives like Jody Williams and Buddy Cannon, who are among the amazing spokespersons at this induction event via video, among many other industry celebrities and leaders. But mostly, we're thrilled to have you watching with all your family and friends as we celebrate these lives and career achievements, these 20 women who helped develop, define, and build the foundation of the music industry. All of our 2021 inductees have been added to our permanent exhibit located at the Musicians Hall of Fame so that thousands of museum guests will have the opportunity to learn more about them and in the future. Let's get started, okay?
Let's do it. Ann Cooper Boatman was born in Inglewood on October 6, 1947, to James Litton and Mabel Whitmore Cooper. She graduated from Isaac Litton High School in 1966 and began her professional career the same year when she joined the secretarial pool at National Life Insurance, owner of the Grand Ole Opry and WSM Radio, among others. She was chosen by E.W. Bud Wendell to be his assistant when he was promoted from National Life to become the manager of the Grand Ole Opry, and that was in 1968. She was affectionately known as Opry Annie, sitting on a small bench next to the announcer, making notes for the Musicians Union of who played on each segment in order for each musician to be paid for their proper playing time. Bud and Annie set up shop at the Ryman Auditorium in a janitorial closet, which was converted into a shared office. Bud, with absolutely no experience in the music business whatsoever, began booking the Opry appearances, with Annie working from her desk, and that desk butted right up to his as his support. After working for Bud for many years and following her marriage to Hee Haw director Bob Boatman, she began working alongside Bob producing shows for TNN, otherwise known as the Nashville Network. Eventually, she took a position as a staff producer at TNN, working with Paul Corbin, VP of Programming, where she stayed until she retired as Special Projects Manager, and that was in 2000, and passed away on June 22nd, 2019. She suffered from Alzheimer's disease. And now, a video from music industry executive Paul Corbin.
I first met Ann Boatman while I was producing a Tennessee Ernie Ford special at the Grand Ole Opry House in 1978. I found her to be quiet and reserved for our first few meetings, but then I got to know the real Ann Boatman. She came out of the management ranks alongside of E.W. Bud Wendell while he managed the Grand Ole Opry. Ann knew and worked with every member of the cast and walked side by side through many careers with them. Bud Wendell went on to be the president of Opryland USA, and Ann found a home in the startup of cable channel TNN. I was hired as head of programming as the Nashville network was just getting started. I welcomed Ann to my staff as a valued assistant. Not only did she have a rich company history with the Opry, she helped me navigate the Opryland USA staffs and properties. And she was married for many years to respected Hee Haw director Bob Boatman. I not only benefited from Ann's knowledge, but respected her for her creative flair. She was a detailed taskmaster, and all of us could count on her to bring projects together and see them through. She also had a very big heart and a delightful sense of humor. We worked together for nearly 20 years. I can't think of anyone more deserving than Ann Boatman for the Hall of Fame.
We are honored to induct into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame Ann Boatman.
Sue Brewer was raised in Dardanelle, Arkansas. She moved to Nashville in 1963 after getting a job publicizing concerts for country singer Webb Pierce, and by following his tour and making various appearances in his custom silver dollar car. When she returned from the tour, Brewer found a job waitressing at a Nashville bar, the Derby Club. When she closed for the evenings, she noticed many of the songwriters and musicians didn't have a place to go home. So she soon turned her apartment at 911 18th Avenue South into an after-hours clubhouse for music folks. Hosting guitar pulls in her living room were writers such as Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, Roger Miller, Harlan Howard, Willie Nelson, Dallas Frazier, or Jack Clement. They could all gather and swap songs with one another. She dubbed their hangout the Boar's Nest. The truly broke among them, and that was most of them, always could find a place to sleep on her floor. In 1972, Vince Matthews and Shel Silverstein co-wrote On Susan's Floor in her honor. It has since been recorded by Mac Wiseman, Gordon Lightfoot, Hank Williams Jr., and several other artists. Sue worked nights as managing partner at George Jones' Possum Hollow nightclub. She wrote a column for Music City News for a decade. She was a working single mother throughout her life in Nashville. She fought breast cancer for 12 years before passing in 1981 at the age of 48. Toward the end of her life, she answered fan mail for Waylon Jennings. In 1984, Jennings established the Sue Brewer Fund, which provides scholarships for students at Belmont and Vanderbilt universities. In 1985, Jennings honored Sue with a 2-hour television special named The Door Is Always Open. She was inducted as an honorary member of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1990. Let's hear from the executive director of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, Mark Ford.
Hello, I'm Mark Ford, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. I'm here to congratulate the family and friends of Sue Brewer, one of Source's 2021 Hall of Fame inductees. Sue is legendary for her generosity to Nashville's struggling songwriters, many of whom she championed during the 1960s and 70s. If writers needed help, be it a little cash or a place to crash, they turned to Sue, whose living room became an after-hours clubhouse where songwriters would gather to swap songs late into the night, eventually early into the morning. In 1990, in recognition of her generosity, Sue was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame alongside so many of the legendary songwriters that she befriended. It's gratifying to know that once again, Sue's contributions are being honored with her induction into the Source Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
It is an absolute joy to induct into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame Sue Brewer.
Mary Reeves, beloved wife of international artist and pioneer of the Nashville sound, gentleman Jim Reeves, was a businesswoman, a boss, and a friend. She was born on January 20th, 1929 in Marshall, Texas. Mary and Jim met at a dance, and at that time, both had other dates. Jim asked Mary to dance, and he knew right there that she was to become his future wife. They married September 3rd, 1947. Jim met an untimely death in a plane crash at the age of 39. That was July 31st, 1964. Mary not only managed Jim's career after his passing, but was instrumental in Jim's buying a radio station, KGRI, Henderson, Texas. And later, it was WMTS, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. She served as president of Jim Reeves Enterprises for several decades. She was the CEO of BMI Music Publishing Companies and one ASCAP company. Mary kept her late husband's career alive internationally by working closely with RCA Victor Records in selecting and scheduling Jim's record releases. She also kept Jim's band, the Blue Boys, together for several years after Jim's death. Sound Format magazine named her Woman of the Year in 1966. Mary and Jim were both avid golfers who enjoyed playing golf together, and she was a longtime member of the CMA board. Mary was also an avid bowler who received many bowling trophies. Mary passed away November the 11th, 1999, and she is now buried on the east side of Jim, as per her request in her will, at Jim Reeves Memorial Site near Carthage, Texas, along with her beloved collie, Cheyenne. Hit record producer Ray Baker has a word to share about Mary.
Hello, my name is Ray Baker, and I have the good pleasure and honor of welcoming Mary Reeves into the Source Music Hall of Fame. I met Jim and Mary when I went to work for their publishing company back in 1962. As a song plugger, it afforded me the opportunity to not only learn the music publishing business, but the music business in general through the guidance of Mary Reeves and Joyce Jackson, another member of the Source Hall of Fame. We had some good luck in finding some good songs over the years, but I had the great fortune of getting to know Mary and Jim very well, and I respected both of them and appreciate always the honor and the great gift they gave me by allowing me the opportunity to learn something about the music business. Of course, after Jim died, I stayed working for Mary for almost a year, but it seemed that things were changing to the point that it was time to move on, which we did. But I will always, always treasure the memories of Jim Reeves and his lovely wife, Mary, from the time that we knew them. And I welcome her, along with all the others, into the Source Music Hall of Fame. Thank you.
We are so honored to induct Mary Reeves Davis into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Babette Dudley spent the majority of her career at the Country Music Association, arriving in 1986 and resigning in 2011. During her 25 years at the trade association, she rose from receptionist to special projects assistant to Helen Farmer to senior vice president of the events and special projects department. She contributed to CMA's growth and success, including the morphing of fanfare from a long-time event of 25,000 fans held at the Tennessee State Fairgrounds to one of the largest music festivals in America. Held at locations throughout downtown Nashville, the rebranded CMA Music Fest annually attracts more than 100,000 fans and dozens of country music's biggest artists. When the CMA Awards made a one-year move to New York City's Madison Square Garden and then back to its new home at Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, Babette was one of the key team members behind that move. This earned her a spot on the top 15 event planners of the year list from BizBash. She also played a major role in the launch of ABC TV specials CMA Country Christmas and CMA Music Festival. Among her other career highlights was creating CMA events in Washington, D.C. at the Vice President's residence and at the Library of Congress. Regretfully, she was killed in a car accident March 14th of 2014. Let's hear from country superstar Dierks Bentley, followed by a word from music industry executive Ed Benson.
I remember meeting Bobette at my very first fanfare back when I was interning at the CMA. She really showed me the ropes at the old fairgrounds and throughout the office. She was always so sweet to me then, and such a big supporter of my music later on. And I just think it's great that she's being inducted into the Source Awards Hall of Fame. I miss her, and I'm grateful for knowing her, and I appreciate the friendship that we had.
Hello, my Source friends, and thank you so much for recognizing my longtime colleague and associate, Bobette Dudley. Bobette could easily deal with suppliers and vendors and hotel staffs, and at the same time, top industry board members and Washington elites. I was always very fortunate to have someone talented as Bobette to plan and execute big events for CMA. She was an amazing asset for the organization.
We are honored tonight to induct the 2021 Source Hall of Fame Awards, Bobette Dudley.
Sharon Eves made a career of connecting artists with their fans through Fan Clubhouse, of which she was CEO. She worked with the fan clubs of numerous artists, including Gary Allen, Brad Paisley, Scotty McCreery, Jared Neiman, Phil Vassar, Montgomery Gentry, Clay Walker, Lone Star, Brian White, and several others. She managed several artists too, including Brian White, and served as president of R&J Records. She was a passionate and dedicated longtime volunteer for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and Country Cares for St. Jude Kids, serving on the advisory board for them as well. Sharon was attending a board meeting at St. Jude when she suffered a heart attack on September 25th, 2015, leaving her husband Tom Harding and son Cameron Harding. Award-winning country singer-songwriter Richie McDonald has a few words to say about Sharon Eves.
Hey, it's Richie McDonald from Lone Star. I'd like to congratulate the Eves family and the Harding family for the induction of Sharon Eves Harding into the Source, the Country Music Hall of Fame for women in the industry. Not a day goes by that we don't miss Sharon, and she did so much for me in the short time that I knew her, and has done a lot for others out there in the industry. Called her Mrs. Nashville. Love her, miss her every day. Congratulations.
We honor Sharon Eves. Your lifetime career achievements have earned you a place in the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
As a young woman, Dale Franklin moved from her native St. Louis to Manhattan, where she became the assistant manager for the fabled Fillmore East Rock Concert Ballroom. In 1969, she was the transportation and lodging coordinator for the legendary Woodstock Festival. She moved to North California to become executive assistant to the Grateful Dead. In the 1970s, she was the first female road manager in rock music history when working for the country rock group, the New Riders of the Purple Sage. Dale moved to Nashville in 1977. She initially worked as a song lyricist and poet. In 1980, she was selected by the founding director of the Nashville Music Association, I meant to say. Later, it was renamed the Nashville Entertainment Association. That was the organization formed to boost non-country musical activity in the city. It was eventually absorbed into the Nashville Film, Entertainment, and Music Commission. Following stints at Scene 3 Video and Vanderbilt University, Dale was appointed founding executive director of Leadership Music in 1989. She was on the Nashville Film Advisory Board, the representative of Music Row on the Nashville Chamber of Commerce's Citizen Advisory Committee, a founding council member of the W.O. Smith Community Music School, a member of Summer Lights Festival Planning Committee, a founder of the Copyright Society of the South, and alum of Leadership Nashville. Whew. Dale died of cancer at age 54 on Christmas Eve in 1994, but not before organizing her own farewell concert party at 328 Performance Hall that fall. She arrived in a limousine, was seated on a throne in the middle of the venue's merriment. Organized and disciplined to the very end, she even left behind thoughts and writings for her own memorial service. We are honored to have Nashville historian Bob Orman to speak on her behalf.
Hello, my name is Robert K. Orman, and I'm here to talk about my friend, Dale Franklin. Dale was an unforgettable, extraordinary person. She truly lived the motto, lead with love. As a young woman, she moved from her native St. Louis to New York City. There, she became the assistant manager at the fabled rock concert ballroom, the Fillmore East. In 1969, Dale became the transportation and lodging coordinator at the legendary Woodstock Music Festival. She was only getting started. She moved to Northern California. There, she became the executive assistant to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band, the Grateful Dead. Next, she became the first female road manager in rock history with the country rock band New Riders of the Purple Sage. Then she managed the group to stardom. Dale and I moved to Nashville at about the same time in the late 1970s. I think we initially bonded over the fact that we were both old hippies, but I soon came to admire her organizational abilities. She was able to rally people and instill in them her boundless capacity for hard work, determination, grit, bravery, and kindness. We first worked together when Dale became the founding director of the Nashville Music Association. This was a group dedicated to promoting the non-country side of Nashville's music. It eventually became the Nashville Film, Entertainment, and Music Commission in the mayor's office. Following stints at Scene 3 Video and at Vanderbilt University, Dale became the founding executive director of Leadership Music in 1989. Dale became a force to be reckoned with as she built this new organization from the ground up, uniting the various factions of Music Row with her can-do energy and extraordinary diplomacy. She became the voice of Music Row at the Chamber of Commerce, the Nashville Film Advisory Board, the American Cancer Society, the Nashville Institute for the Arts, and Leadership Nashville. She was a founder of the W.O. Smith Community Music Schools Board, a founder of the Copyright Society of the South. Dale was such an organizer that she even organized her own farewell party. It was this giant multi-act bash concert at 328 Performance Hall. I remember Dale arrived in a limousine and sat on a throne in the middle of all the festivities around her. She died on Christmas Eve, 1994, at age 54. All of her female friends gathered around her bedside and sang her home in Gloria in Excelsis Deo. Dale taught us to live like we are all in this together. She taught us to celebrate one another. She showed us what true leadership is. If you never knew her, you missed a real dynamo. Dale Franklin was a motivator. She was a champion. She led with love. Dale Franklin left this town, left this industry, and left this world a little better than she found it. And that's all anyone can ask of any of us.
It is with great pleasure we remember the work of Dale Franklin and induct her into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Jeannie Gant began her career working for Larry Bonash at ABC Records. When ABC was bought by Dot in 1974, Jeannie worked in the promotion department for singer-songwriter Jim Fogelsong. Among the artists with whom she worked were Roy Clark, Donna Fargo, Don Williams, Freddie Fender, and Joe Stampley, as well as the Pointer Sisters on their popular Fairy Tale single. MCA bought ABC Dot, and Jeannie continued to work in their promotion department along with Irv Woolsey and Tony Tamburano, both of whom had moved from Texas to Nashville. Artists in whose careers she was instrumental include Barbara Mandrell, the Oak Ridge Boys, Don Williams, and Roy Clark. In 1981, she joined the staff of Joe Galante's RCA Records. She spent a brief time working with Gene Hughes Promotions as well. In 1982, she joined Mandrell Management, headed by Irby Mandrell, the father of 3 Mandrell sisters, Barbara, Louise, and Earlene. She not only handled the day-to-day media and PR, management duties, and personal appearances for those 3 sisters, but she also worked with them on their national network television show. Jeannie was the spokesperson for Barbara Mandrell when she experienced the near-fatal car accident in 1984. Leaving Mandrell, she opened her own promotions company, Jeannie Gant Promotions, representing the Cannons, Mac Wiseman, and the Randalls. She had 2 daughters, Angie and Jenny, both of whom followed in their mother's footsteps, working in the music industry. Jeannie lost her battle with cancer in 1994. Source Hall of Fame inductee Katie Gillian has a few words to say.
I am just so happy to be able to talk about my dear friend Jeannie Gant, who was on this amazing list of brilliant women that are being honored tonight by Source. Jeannie is the reason that I discovered the music business in October 1973, when she hired me as a temp to mail t-shirts and acetates to country radio for Dot Records in a basement, Owen Bradley's basement behind the Decca building, the Forest Hills building, the basement of that building. And after a few weeks, luckily, I was rescued by Jim Fogelsong, which is another whole story. But back to Jeannie. She and I were running buddies. We were youngsters in our 20s, silly girls having a good time, working together, going to award shows together, sharing fancy dresses and makeup, and just having a good time. We also played softball for years together and had a blast doing that on Barbara Mandrell's sponsored team, the Do Rights. That was so much fun. But what can I say about Jeannie? I mean, she was the best human in every possible way. She was bright and smart and savvy and hardworking. She was a loyal friend. She had nerves of steel. She wasn't afraid of anything. And really, she was hilarious. She was so funny and so much fun. She had that twinkle in her eyes. You always knew you were going to have a good time. You didn't know what she had up her sleeve, but it was going to be fun. Jeannie was the backbone of the promotion department at Dot Records in the 70s. I mean, there were hits galore with Don Williams, Roy Clark, Freddie Fender, Joe Stampley, Tommy Overstreet, Buck Trent, the list goes on until Dot was purchased by ABC a few years later. And when Jeannie worked for the Mandrells, she was a stalwart there at that company. The whole family depended on her for the entire organization depended upon her. She was responsible, and you knew she was going to do a good job. I think the thing that I most admired about Jeannie was that she was a ferocious, hardworking single mom raising 2 girls all by herself and raising them to become great humans as well. So, my dear friend Jeannie, I miss you. You were gone way too young. I will never forget you. And sending much love out to her 2 lovely daughters, Angie Osborne and Jenny House. Love you guys.
I am honored to induct into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame, Jeannie Gant.
You know, every time I come to the Musicians Hall of Fame, I look at all the exhibits that I have time to look at, but I always make time to stop by this one. I am so proud to be standing by my dress that I wore the night that I won the Grammy Awards. I was really trying to look uptown, wasn't I? Those long gloves, sophisticated. Well, it probably didn't work too well, but I'm so glad to have a place here in this wonderful museum. Tonight we are honoring all the ladies who are becoming inducted into the Source Foundation Hall of Fame. Teresa Lee Tootie Jackson was raised in the music industry. Her uncle, Curly Rhodes of Odie and Jody, was a member of the Grand Ole Opry. Her aunt, Mary Claire Rhodes, worked at Cedarwood Publishing and is a Source Hall of Famer. Her sister, Sherry J. Oakley, has worked at BMI for 50 years. Tootie began her career at Cedarwood Publishing, owned by Jim Denny and singer Webb Pierce, and later by Jim's two sons, Bill and John Denny. When the Dennys sold the publishing company to Mel Tillis in 1983, Tootie stayed with the company, and again, when Mel sold the Polygram, she once again moved with the company. The girl knew her stuff. Teresa followed with stints at Welk Music, High Seas Music, Moraine Music, and finally to Bigger Picture Music. Helping songwriters was her focus in life, but she was also a songwriter herself, scoring cuts by Reba McEntire and Johnny Rodriguez. Nashville producer and songwriter Buddy Cannon shares a few memories about Tootie.
I'm Buddy Cannon, and I just wanted to say a few words about my friend Tootie Jackson, who's being inducted into the Source Hall of Fame tonight. I met Tootie back in the mid-1980s when I was working for Mel Tillis. Mel bought Cedarwood Publishing and decided to hire Tootie, who had been working at Cedarwood for many years in publishing admin. And so Tootie moved it over to our office, and we became fast friends. She was crazy as hell, and she was damn good at her job. And we worked there for Mel for a couple of years, and then he sold to Polygram. They hired me and Tootie to go to work with the catalog, and she just grew into the job from that. She was a one of a kind. She was hilarious. She was a big practical joker. And I still never have figured out when she had a 1,000-pound pig delivered to my office door one day. But she just did stuff like that. And she was funny. She partied hard, but she loved her work and she worked hard. And I'd like to thank Source for giving Tootie this great honor and putting her in the Hall of Fame with so many other wonderful ladies. And I just, Tootie, if you're listening to us, we miss you down here. It ain't been the same without you. We'll see you someday.
And oh, how Buddy Cannon loved her. We are honored to induct Teresa Lee Tootie Jackson into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Vivian Keith spent much of her music career working for Shelby Singleton Enterprises and family for many years, at Mercury Records, at Triple S International, at Plantation Records, and at the famous Sun Records, as well as Surefire Music and Wilhelm Agency. All the while helping other women in the industry to get connected to job opportunities like her friend Ann Tant, who she connected with work, and with Buck Ram of the Platters, who was also opening a Nashville publishing office. Vivian was a songwriter and was Grammy nominated for co-writing Before the Next Teardrop Falls. She wrote that with Ben Peters, and it was recorded by Freddie Fender. Vivian was thrilled when the song was also the NSAI Song of the Year in 1975. Her good friend Margie Singleton, whom Vivian worked for through the years, shares very special insights on some of Vivian's many job duties.
Hi, My name is Margie Singleton. I am so happy about my friend Vivian Keith being inducted into the Source Hall of Fame. Vivian worked for me and my family at Raleigh Music, at Mercury Records, at SSS International, at Plantation Records, and Sun Records. She was like a mother to all of us. She would take our clothes to the cleaners. She would take our kids to school. She would pick them up when we were working late, recording those awesome records that was recorded back then. Also, I want to thank Source for honoring all the women behind the scenes who have given so much through the years and been recognized so little. Thank you, Source, for honoring those women, and congratulations to all of those who are being inducted.
I am honored to induct Vivian Keith into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
On August 21st, 1954, Fort Worth, Texas witnessed the birth of a visionary. Nikki Mitchell saw only the great possibilities in life and in others. After successful import and artistic ventures in Texas, Nikki landed in Nashville to helm the enterprises of legendary Waylon Jennings and Jessie Coulter. She would go on to serve as president. She loved flying airplanes, and in 1998, Nikki made history of her own with the Bridge of Wings flight circumnavigating the Northern Hemisphere as co-captain in a single-engine aircraft. In Russia, this venture unified two countries by flying side by side in formation with 2 Russian and 2 American women to retrace the historical 1938 flight of the Rodina. In 2007, Nikki co-founded Nashville's fly fishing group, Music City Fly Girls. MCFG continues to meet to enjoy fly fishing and the sisterhood she loved. In December of 2010, Nikki was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and given a 3-month prognosis. She consulted with renowned medical professionals, and her zeal for life never diminished. After 31 months of battling the disease, Nikki embarked on her final adventure on July 9th of 2013. Her last dream was to save others from pancreatic cancer. Caring about early detection research led Nikki to participate upon her death in a floating tumor cell research program facilitated by Johns Hopkins Hospital. Nikki's donation was the first to contribute a vast amount of data to the scientist. Her legacy lives on in the Nikki Mitchell Foundation, which financially supports patients, funds innovative research, and raises awareness. Country music artist and writer Jamie Johnson shares his love for Nikki in this moving video.
Hey, this is Jamie Johnson. I want to thank everybody that nominated and voted for Nikki Mitchell to be inducted into the Source Hall of Fame. Nikki was a great lady. I loved being around her. She was an inspiration to me and so many other people. She took care of all things Waylon Jennings and Jessie Coulter and Shooter Jennings until her passing in 2013 from pancreatic cancer. And while I'm at it, I want to thank Source for everything you do to recognize and support and acknowledge women in the music industry. Nikki would have been proud to accept this award, and I know she's somewhere today, proud that she's been inducted into this Hall of Fame. Her life touched the lives of everybody that knew her, and today is still touching the lives of pancreatic cancer patients in the form of the Nikki Mitchell Foundation. So thank you for inducting Nikki Mitchell.
What an honor it is to induct Nikki Mitchell into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Claudia Mize was a former A&R executive and production coordinator at Mercury Records. She also worked at Warner Brothers Nashville during her career. Among the artists on whose albums that Claudia worked on were Johnny Cash, Billy Ray Cyrus, Terry Clark, John Anderson, Steve Azar, Wynonna, Neil Cody, Kim Ritchie, Ronna Reeves, and so many others. Claudia is among those credited with the idea of launching Billy Ray Cyrus's career by creating a dance contest around his 1992 single, Achy Breaky Heart. She has two brothers, Frank and Randy. A country music superstar with 40 years of entertainment experience, John Anderson has a few words to say about his friend Claudia.
I'm John Anderson. I met Claudia back in 1976 at Warner Brothers Records, where she was putting together all the recording sessions. And I'll never forget what a wonderful job she did, and what a pleasure it was to work with her. I remember having certain requests on sessions of a Pete Drake or a Pig Robbins, and Claudia smiles out, "I'll see if I can." But lo and behold, she'd get it done. And later on, when I went to produce myself, it was my faith in Claudia that gave me the confidence to say, "No, I think we can do it." And we set up those sessions, I remember, and ended up recording some of the best records in my career. And I'll always be grateful to Claudia for helping me do that. And remember, Claudia, we love you. And if anybody deserves an award in this business, you certainly do. And congratulations on your Source Award. And by the way, next time around, happy birthday.
We are honored to induct into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame, Claudia Mize.
On this very piano, the song Stand By Your Man was co-written by Billy Sherrill and Tammy Wynette. And that is how our story connects with our next inductee, Sylvia Richie. That song was made famous by Tammy, of course. Sylvia Richie spent her entire career working behind the scenes as part of the George Ritchie and Paul Ritchie family, supporting the career of George Ritchie's then wife, Tammy Wynette, at Tammy Wynette Enterprises. Sylvia also worked for AFM and George Ritchie Productions. Both George and Paul Ritchie were producers, artists, writers, and Sylvia helped to manage the business components, publishing and pitching components of their creative endeavors. Here to say a few words about Sylvia Richie is music industry executive Lou Spaltori.
Hi, I'm Lou Spaltori, and I am honored to be here to speak on behalf of singer-songwriter and 2021 Source Hall of Fame inductee, Sylvia Richie. Sylvia was a wonderful singer-songwriter herself when she married into the musical powerhouse family of Music Row's creative brothers, Paul Ritchie and George Ritchie. They were both well-known, award-winning songwriters, producers, and artists themselves. And as most of us remember, George Ritchie was married to the queen of country music, Tammy Wynette. And that just worked out great for Sylvia, in that she was fortunate to have one of her own songs, If We Never Love Again, recorded by Tammy. Sylvia also had songs recorded by other famous female country artists like Crystal Gayle with her song, Everybody Ought to Cry, and with artist Billy Joe Spears recording her song, Happy Ever After. I know she will be so honored to be recognized and included in the Source Hall of Fame and have her songs and her work forever remembered. Sylvia Richie, I am truly honored to induct you into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
We are proud to induct Sylvia Richie into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Janet Rickman began her career as a music industry publicist for Polygram Mercury Records in the mid-1970s, working with the Statler brothers, Johnny Rodriguez, and a very young Reba McEntire. This led to stints in the Los Angeles and New York publicity departments of Mercury Records, where she worked closely with Tears for Fears, Rush, and John Mellencamp, among others. She later returned to her Nashville home to head up the MCA Nashville Publicity and Video Department, working extensively with artists such as Vince Gill, George Strait, Patty Loveless, Marty Stewart, Trisha Yearwood, and several others. She retired from MCA Nashville in the late 1990s and began a second career in the Nashville Library. Born in 1949, Janet passed away from cancer in 2013. She loved trees, books, music, and art. A National Merit Scholar, she received her BA from Vanderbilt University in 1972. And now, artist Reba McEntire has a few words to share about Janet.
Thank y'all very much for honoring my buddy Janet tonight. She was a very special woman. She took really, really good care of me. One time when I flew into Nashville to come in to Polygram Mercury Studios offices to record, she picked me up at the airport, took me to the hotel, and we walked into, she took me up to my room, and it was a disaster. They hadn't cleaned it up yet. She shut that door and she took me another hotel, got me a nicer room and everything. She said, I am terribly sorry that happened, and really took care of me. And we became close friends, and it was so much fun to go to the Polygram Mercury the offices to get to see her and all the team that worked there. It became my Nashville family, and Janet was the best. She worked hard and was fun to hang out with, had the greatest smile. I just loved her. I'll miss her. Thank y'all for this honor, and congratulations, Janet. I know you're smiling down from heaven.
We are honored to induct Janet Rickman into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Born in Tifton, Georgia on November 28, 1935, to Gus and Frankie Anthony, Faye Anthony Smith moved to West Palm Beach as a young girl. She graduated from Palm Beach High School and attended Florida State University before transferring to Auburn University, where she was instrumental in establishing the Pi Beta Phi sorority chapter. Faye moved to Nashville following college and taught school for several years before joining the Performing Rights Organization, BMI, in 1979. Beginning as a receptionist, Faye became the corporate events coordinator in both the Nashville and New York offices. Faye loved music and working on events for the songwriting community under the direction of her dear friend and longtime CEO of BMI, Frances Preston, one of my heroes, by the way. Although she retired from BMI in 2007, she always remained a part of the BMI family. Faye had two daughters, Allison Smith and Ellen Smith Simpson, three grandsons, and a sister, Kay Cowart. She passed away September 13, 2019. Music publisher Jody Williams shares his thoughts about Faye Smith.
Hi, I'm Jody Williams, and I am so pleased to know that Faye Smith has been inducted into the Source Hall of Fame. Faye Smith was a very, very special person to me and my wife Karen when we started our careers at BMI in the mid-70s. She was the receptionist, Karen was the receptionist, I was in the mailroom. Faye was Frances Preston's right-hand person to make sure everything in that office ran smoothly and made everybody feel at home and hospitable. I always kind of thought that Faye was Frances's secret weapon, and I think I'm probably right about that. Faye had just wonderful people skills and organizational skills. She was nobody's fool. She ran a tight ship, and she was friendly in the process. And it was just an amazing supportive role that she served for me and Karen, being the young newbies in the office, and she really made us feel important. And I'll never forget that, and Karen will never forget that. I thank you so much for asking me to speak about Faye, because in my heart, she just is a big part of the beginning, and really throughout my career, she was always there, helping Frances in Nashville, and then later moving with Frances to New York to do the same thing up there and make all the New Yorkers feel so special. So to Allison Smith, my dear friend, I know you're proud. To the whole Smith family, congratulations. Faye, you made it into the Hall of Fame.
It is with great pride that we induct Faye Anthony Smith into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Ann Tant worked 50 plus years in Atlanta and in Nashville music industry. Ann worked at famous companies such as the Lowry Music Group, RCA Records, and GRC Records. In addition, she owned her own company, Ann's Promotion Services. Ann also worked at Mercury Records, Warner Brothers Records, Starway Records, also Joe Taylor Booking Agency, and for country star Farron Young. Ann managed artist Margot Smith and worked for Music Valley's John Hobbs Enterprises. She loved serving on the board of directors as secretary for the Rope organization. Country superstar and Music Row business executive Ray Stevens has a few things to say about Ann.
Hi, this is Ray Stevens, and I was delighted to hear that Ann Tant is being inducted into the Source Awards Hall of Fame. I knew Ann in Atlanta, where she was a regular at the Georgia Jubilee in East Point and later at the Georgia Hall of Fame events. Ann loved music and the music business, and she was a great supporter of our industry. And it's great to see that Source is honoring Ann and all of these strong women tonight.
I am so honored to induct Ann Tant into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm enjoying spending some time at the Musicians Hall of Fame. What about you, Shannon?
Me too. I've been through here before, but getting to walk through and see it through your eyes too, you know, seeing your exhibit here.
That's so cool.
That dress.
Grammy Awards,
Yeah.
1966. And that strap on my shoulder, I reached up to hug Chet Atkins and broke the strap, and nobody had a safety pin anywhere. I almost had one of those famous wardrobe malfunctions.
Before Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah, way before. You've actually hosted some events here, haven't you?
I have. You know, this building, it's so beautiful. And Musicians Hall of Fame has been so nice to open it up to different places. They have events, parties, industry events. Country Radio Seminar has had events here. And but I've never had a chance to actually take the time and go through it like we have tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate too, they have the permanent display of the Source Hall of Fame Awards. So we appreciate them so much, and I'm just enjoying being here. They have to holler at us when they're ready for us because we're looking at everything like two little kids. But anyway, it's probably time to do some more inductions, you think?
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go through your wardrobe.
Okay, good deal.
Jeannie's wardrobe.
That's great. Joyce Triplett worked at RCA Records as Director of Finance Administration. She and Joe Galante started working at RCA around the same time. During her time at RCA, Joyce helped to create and build efficient accounting systems for proper cost account reporting to the RCA New York offices. Her professionalism, work ethic, and efforts received a lot of attention and interest from both the New York office and the Nashville office, earning her a promotion to Director of Nashville Operations in 1983. Some of the artists Joyce worked with were Chet Atkins, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Toby Keith, and many others. For a time, she also worked for producer Harold Shedd, who was producing RCA superstar group Alabama. We are honored to have former RCA music industry executive Joe Galante to speak on her behalf.
Hi, this is Joe Galante. I'd like to congratulate all the Hall of Fame inductees on this tremendous honor, and especially Joyce Triplett. Joyce, when I moved here in the mid-70s, was starting out with RCA as I was. And over the next couple of years, we began to become our own profit center, which was unusual because most of the time you were under New York's wing and they never let you kind of fly on your own. But Joyce was one of the people that helped us build the systems and the responsibility of accounting for the work that we did to New York, and they were thrilled with it. She was a joy to work with. She was creative, she was innovative about the way she did it. I will always remember her laugh and her smile. No matter what happened, there was never a moment where you felt like you were being scolded, which was a possibility based on your performance with numbers. She was just really good for the operation because she helped us learn what we needed to do and did it in a marvelous way, where you kind of felt almost motherly. The arm was coming around you and walking you through the experience. So I think it's absolutely fitting that she was a pioneer and she is now into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
And we proudly tonight induct Joyce Triplett into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Barbara Turner was born in Germany and came to the United States in 1966 as a 21-year-old. She wore many hats during her career, including she was a wife, a mother, a television producer, a volunteer, a rescuer, and a friend to many. She worked briefly at Macy's department store in Toledo, Ohio, as a window display designer, fashion consultant, and media buyer. She moved to Nashville from Wisconsin in 1976, landing a job with Liz Thiels at Network Inc. PR. One of the firm's clients was Charlie Daniels' Volunteer Jam, and Barbara worked on the event, handling publicity and production coordination. Not long after, TNN signed on the air in 1982. Barbara was hired as production coordinator for such shows as Dancin' USA and Nashville Now, where she met and married her husband, director Bill Turner. She also worked for many years producing TNN shows for USA and USAF. Barbara was a longtime member of Source and the Source Hall of Fame Awards Committee. Barbara passed away in 2017. She was the mother to one son. Here to say a few words about Barbara is her dear friend, Margie Hunt.
Hi, I'm Margie Hunt. I'm so pleased to be able to talk to you for the next few minutes about our dear friend, Barbara Turner. Any of us who worked with Barbara or knew Barbara over the years would agree that she can be described in 3 words: force of nature. Barbara approached everything in life, whether it was personal or business, with 2 questions. What's the job? What can I do to help? Barbara would be so pleased to be honored by an organization that she so strongly believed in. The support that it offers women in this industry is such a necessity, and she felt very strongly about that. If Barbara were here today, she would say, "Thank you for the honor. Okay, now that that's over, let's go have an adult beverage."
Barbara Turner, in recognition of her lifetime career achievements, we are honored to induct her into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
A Nashville native, Dorothy A. Dot Wright, was born on Christmas Eve, 1937. Dot spent almost 4 decades of her career working for the Opry family of companies. She worked for WSM Radio, WSMV TV, the Grand Ole Opry, and 15 of her 38 years as executive secretary to E.W. Bud Wendell, head of then Gaylord Entertainment. She fought a long battle with Parkinson's disease, passing away October 31st, 2006, at the age of 68. She had 1 brother, Charles Wright, in addition to a niece, Susan Hicks, and a great niece, Lisa Hicks. Industry leader Ed Stone has a few words to share with us.
Hi, I'm Ed Stone, and I'm honored to present Dot Wright, Administrative Assistant until her retirement, to E.W. Bud Wendell, then President at Gaylord Entertainment. I was corporate vice president of marketing for all Opryland USA properties and worked very closely with Mr. Wendell. Therefore, I got to know and appreciate the outstanding qualities of Dot Wright. Dot's tenure with the company was some 38 years, working with WSM Radio, WSM TV, the Grand Ole Opry, and Gaylord Entertainment Company that owned all of Opryland USA properties. Her service to Mr. Wendell was over 15 years. I can personally say she was an exemplary employee and support person for our company's president. A comment from the person who followed Dot as administrative assistant, and I quote, "Dot was very patient, considerate, and generous. She was great with all the other administrative assistants. She had a strong relationship with all of them. She would plan luncheons in order for the other administrative assistants to get to know each other. Dot was a person of compassion and made all visitors to the president's office feel comfortable and welcome. Her affectionate smile, southern style of conversation would warm up any corporate meeting, making her an invaluable asset. On behalf of Mr. Wendell, the employees of Gaylord Entertainment, Opryland USA, and myself, thank you for inducting Dot Wright into the Source Hall of Fame. This recognition is well deserved, and I'm sure she would be very proud of this honor. Thank you.
It is such a joy to induct Dorothy Dot, as we love to call her, Wright, into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame.
Margaret Wright spent most of her career working with Tom Sparkman, a recording engineer for Mercury Custom Recording Studios. Margaret handled everything from booking the studio, master distribution, cataloging the songs, the billing, the accounting. Margaret was truly the woman behind the music. It was Margaret who kept the studio running and humming like a well-oiled machine, all while calming and comforting temperamental artists, musicians, and industry professionals. Karen Conrad is going to share a few words with us on behalf of Margaret's dear friend, Trish Williams.
Karen Conrad here. Trish Williams Warren asked me if I would say a few words about our mutual friend and co-worker, Margaret Wright. These are Trish's words. I am honored to remember Margaret Wright. Margaret worked with Tom Sparkman, the recording engineer for Mercury Custom Recording Studios. I worked for Jerry Kennedy, a record producer for Mercury Records. The studio was downstairs of our offices. In the early 70s, we worked almost daily with Margaret and Tom since Jerry did most of his recording sessions at Mercury Studios. Margaret did everything. She was in charge and you knew it, but always in a considerate and respectful way. She was pleasant, calm, steady, efficient, organized, neat, punctual, and dependable. She answered the phones, booked recording times, cataloged and shipped master tapes, did the billing, paid the bills, and handled building maintenance, all while putting up with temperamental artists, musicians, and industry personnel. Margaret was first class, and she was always ready to meet the day. Makeup, perfectly coiffed hair, nice outfit, matching jewelry, a handsome pocketbook. Margaret is the only person I ever knew who had a carpenter build her a pocketbook tree for all of the handsome bags that she enjoyed. Perhaps most importantly to me personally is that Margaret was a dear friend and a trusted confidant. She always listened, and her friendship, encouragement, and kind words always made my day better. I appreciate that the Source Foundation has chosen to honor Margaret Wright. She is very deserving of this accolade, and I know that she can hear me now. Congratulations, my friend.
We are so honored to induct into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame, Margaret Wright.
Jean Zimmerman's music roots go as deep as those on her family tree. She was born to Howard and Victoria Scoggins in Marietta, Georgia. Her daddy was a versatile musician who played guitar, mandolin, and other instruments with the very first hillbilly band on WSB in Atlanta. Jean learned piano and guitar after graduating from Massey Business College and Patricia Stevens Modeling School. She sang in trios with bands in the Atlanta area. She married and had 4 children and turned her hand to writing. She wrote skits, scripts, and she began writing songs. Her brother-in-law had a theater, and it was there that she met Sam Wallace of RCA. She had recorded 4 of her songs on a custom session, and he encouraged her to go to Nashville. Through Mr. Wallace, she met Wally Cochran, my friend Dottie West, Chet Atkins, Danny Davis, and Jerry Reed, and many others. A single parent with 4 small children to raise, Jean took a job at CBS as secretary to Epic promotion man Bill Williams. Jerry Reed published several of her songs, and soon she was hired to manage the publishing company. Jean worked closely with fresh young writers, building a catalog, and secured over 230 cuts with major artists. She opened her own company called Sing Me Music. The door was always open to stars like Eddie Rabbitt and Even Stevens, who stopped by to play their latest demos for her. Jean became one of the first female producers in Nashville and learned her trade while working at Epic Records and doing demos for artist writers at her Sing Me record label. Jean's solid reputation for honesty and hard work within the music community spoke volumes about her as a person and industry leader. Publisher Connie Woolsey has a few words to share about Jean.
Hi, I'm Connie Woolsey. I'm grateful to Source for inducting my auntie, Jean Zimmerman, into the Source Hall of Fame. Jean was always a go-getter, and even as a single mother with 4 kids, that didn't stop her from moving to Nashville to pursue her career in the music business. She forged her own way as an independent producer when females were not given those opportunities. She opened her own publishing company and had an open-door policy to any aspiring songwriter who needed help or just a bit of encouragement to continue pursuing their dreams. She always had a big heart, a friendly smile, and a great ear for music and young talent. And she did that all while raising 4 wonderful children. Thank you, Source, for acknowledging Jean Zimmerman's work and inducting her into the Hall of Fame.
We are honored tonight to induct Jean Zimmerman into the 2021 Source Hall of Fame. Well, thank you for joining Shannon and me for our 2021 Source Hall of Fame inductees. Shannon, should we give them a sneak peek about next year?
I think we should.
Okay. Margie Hunt.
Aileen Jackson.
Suzanne Sims Lee.
Dottie Oliphant.
Norma Jean Owen.
Betty Sanders.
Ima Withers. Mark your calendars now for August 23rd, 2022, right here again at the Musicians Hall of Fame located at historic Municipal Auditorium.
And until then, stay safe.
And we'll see you next year.